Well, first of all, we have to comply with all the tariffs. We had 25% from a couple of years ago. Now it's going up. That's true, right? But I do want to give you some numbers. First is that our U.S. revenue is really less than 10% of our revenue as the latest status. So it's a smaller challenge for us. And the second point I want to make is that if you think about the nature of such a tariff, obviously it's supposed to balance trade, and the U.S. decided to do that. But I think when people talk about impact, you're making one interesting assumption, which I like to challenge. The assumption is that you probably think that the Chinese companies like us would win the market because we're cheaper when you slash tariff on top of us, and then we become more expensive, then we're less competitive. In our particular case, that's actually not the case. We actually have the highest ASP historically in the industry. Even when the robo-taxi era, we win the market because we have the best quality and the performance. If you think about the sensor we build, it really isn't something you want to sacrifice on performance and quality, and that's why people pick us. So that's why I tend to argue when tariffs kicks in the end, who is paying for it? Let's ask that question. In the end, do people really just go for the inferior quality product because the Chinese ones becoming more expensive? So I think that's more smarter question to ask, especially in our industry.
So let's go there, David. How would you answer that question? Is there a risk that you will have to raise prices because of the tariff impact? And where does that leave margins at Hesai?
So in the end, it's negotiation between us and the customer, right? Depending on the Incoterms, sometimes it's all on us, sometimes it's all on the customer. Sometimes we just renegotiate the contract. But I think that's less important. Again, what's more important is that I don't want people to forget about the nature of such a product. We tend to think this laser sensor is the future of the invisible airbags and seat belts of the automotives. I just heard that we were talking about democratization of AI, and I think this is the democratization of safety, because for such a sensor, now we're going toward the $200 level. Our goal is to put on each of the vehicle so that it will prevent the crash even before it happens. And if you think about it, for $200, you're getting something that will save your life when it's needed, when camera fails, and your kids and the wife might be in the car. So it's really a great value proposition. And for that, if we had to pay additional tariff, that's what we're going to do.
David, ATX long-range lidar then, what does it bring to the table? What makes it stand out as a product and as a technology? And how are you positioning your product portfolio for this new era that is almost upon us of self-driving cars?
Yeah, ATX has been our series. Our products used to be AT. X stands for everyone, for the same concept that we want to bring this to everyone. And the approach we take is the following. We try to use innovation, integrated components, and advanced manufacturing to drive down cost. For the past couple of years, we reduced the cost for such a sensor by 99.5% to the $200 level. I feel like this is a great contribution we have to the industry. And while doing that, we've been the highest revenue in lidar industry globally for more than 4 years. And we more than double our units every year for more than 4 years. So that's the end result. And of course, a lot of people think, oh, did you just lower the price to gain the volume? The truth is, of course, the price went down, but not for the reasons most people think. And we managed to keep the gross margin roughly about 40%. And we see this trend already. We are able to reach a reasonable gross margin while continue to drive down the cost. I feel like this is very important to make sure that we continue to provide the best product and the highest quality product while ramp up the volume.